My homies, one of the biggest questions I get is how do you get all those graphs on the boat? So I'm gonna show you real quick. I'm with Skyler, my boy at GAF, and he's already starting without me, dude.
Oh, sorry.
No. So what I have is precision sonar mounts, and we're gonna show you real quick how to install them. So we already did pilot holes, and now we are putting some holes so we can run our cables through with a gigantic golden bit. What that's actually going to do is, with all our cables, Ethernet, power, our sonar cables, they're actually going to pass through these holes on the front of the mount. You can see right there, and then they can actually access the graph, go straight up the graphs that are going to be mounted on these brackets. This is a double mount for the console, and we're actually also going to do a triple mount, a stacker mount plus a side mount for the front deck of the boat, which should be pretty cool. A lot of graphs, a lot of sonar, but it catches fish. And one of the nice things with the Z20 is you get this sort of console dash access, so I can actually get behind here while Skylar's on the other side, and you can pop those through and I can tighten them down on the other side. So we made sure she was level by measuring before we put those pilot holes on each side. And then it's super simple. You're gonna pop those on through, and then they come in on this side, gonna tighten down. They have these cool little caps too to kind of finish it off and make it look all pretty, but I gotta help Skylar out because he needs 2 more hands to get this job done. One of the things I really like about this mount, and it's partially to do with the fact that the Nitro is set up this way, it's got this super flat panel right on the console. And FYI, if you're ever ordering a boat, do not have them mount the graphs in the dash if you're actually going to put a bracket on, because you don't want anything cut away before you put on this bracket. But what's nice with this precision sonar mount is it's super simple, dude. We're popping these through, and then we're literally going to tighten them down. It's solid, it's all connected. I'm getting in Skylar's way because that's what I do. I'm way too excited about the boat. The front mount that I'm going to show you is a little more complex when you're doing the stackers, because you have to shift it around for spacing and that. More graphs, more problems, right? But this one, pretty straightforward, pretty darn easy to mount. Just be very careful to make sure you're even, and when you're putting your nuts through, that you have space to kind of get those caps on there to tighten it down, that you're not running into any wires. Just kind of always be forward thinking. You know, if you're putting something in the hole, make sure there's nothing on the other end to stop you. So moving on to the front mount, what we're going to do first is we have a plate right here on my Nitro. There's a plastic plate right on the bow, and then Precision Sonar has kind of a reinforcement metal plate, super duper sturdy. And what Skylar's actually doing is mocking it up, because one of the most important things is, especially with a boat from the factory, you got to make sure the trolling motor isn't going to interact with the bracket. This is the base plate for our stacker mount and our spreader mount, so that we can get 3 full graphs up here. Skylar's got it right there. So we're gonna have to use a step bit right in there, my favorite new tool, and then we're gonna drill through these to get that stacker mount on there, and that is the first step, just like that. So what Skylar's doing is running the cables. So on this precision sonar mount, there's just a little kind of, it's got a little grommet in there, a little rubber grommet, and you run all your cables through there. Now, quick recommendation, if you're doing as many graphs or double active targets, you need to be sort of ordered about how you put these cables through, because we're talking about like big ends basically, and you can get sort of tight in there, especially by the end. Your best bet, it's super logical, do your power cables and your active target first. Those are going to be your wider ends, and then at the end you want to do your network cables, your Ethernet cables, and your NEMA cables, which have a little bit smaller end, so smaller space, you can still get those through. Going through that order will allow you to get all those cables through there and not be too tight of a squeeze. Last step in the process, so we got the stacker mount up here, that thing's set to go. Now what Skylar's doing is there's a crossbar here for your double graph mount, and basically you line it up. We're gonna have to shift it over once again to kind of clear the bracket of the ghost right here, but this thing basically just screws into this plate right here. Super stout, super simple, and it gives you the ability to kind of shift it back and forth depending on your needs space-wise. It's actually my buddy Kyle from GF Marine right here. He's dishing out drinks, and now he's on video. We got Skylar. Thank you to all these guys for helping out, like rigging up the boat. It's gonna be absolutely sick. That is a wrap on the front mount. You know, this is the stacker mount. I run my active target there. This will be 2D in mapping, and then we're also gonna put an HDS Pro right here for the scout mode, because we have that double transducer setup. I love my precision sonar mounts. They've been absolutely stout. I ran them on the boat all last year. They're strong, and I think the most important part for me is they're simple. You know, these guys are super duper pro. They've been great in helping me rig, but if I had to do this on my own, it'd be a little bit tough, you know? So you want something that's streamlined, fluid, strong, and fulfills your needs, and especially if you're running multiple graphs for 2023, check these guys out. They're super solid, dude, and they're good people. Hit that like and subscribe button. If you don't do it for me, do it for Skyler back there. He's working on some power poles. You're gonna see a video about that. We will see you with some more boat rigging shortly. Tight line, homies.